Do you know what dump months are? In the film community, before the era of streaming television, it's a period in the year when studios dump films that have very low commercial and critical expectations here in America. These are months that the blockbuster movies aren't typically released, like Marvel, DC, franchise films, A-star films like Denzel Washington or Leonardo DiCaprio, for example. January and February are usually most commonly described this way. Now, January movies have been improving a little. Last year, we had the fantastic horror comedy known as Megan that not only received good reviews, but also good box office performance. And the year before that, we had Scream, also known as Scream 5, a reboot that I highly enjoyed. But even though we had some success, January isn't out of the woods yet because it showed us that good things do come to an end. And Night Swim is the reason I miss bad movies. Now, I didn't believe Night Swim was going to be this Oscar-winning prestige film or a horror film that will flip the genre on its head. I was expecting a solid horror B-movie, that will have fun with such a ridiculous premise like a family having to defend itself from a swimming pool. What I got instead was a slow burn family drama with minimal horror scenes actually in it. Now, before I dive into the story, let's focus on the horror in the film or lack thereof. I don't need jump scares to make a movie a horror movie. We've created so many subgenres under horror that are more than that ominous sound with creaky floors, silence for a few moments, and then a jump scare. The tone and atmosphere you create can be enough horror. Think of Jordan Peele films. They aren't what some people consider horror, but it does have the tone and atmosphere that is reminiscent of the horror genre. Night Swim doesn't really have that. When moments do happen that follow the horror formula of a creepy feeling, it doesn't do anything with it. For example, you have the son of the family go into the pool by himself. At this point, we saw the opening scene of a little girl falling into the pool and being killed. Now, there's questions I have on how that worked to kill the little girl, but that doesn't matter right now, so I'll focus on the little boy. So, in the scene with the son, he's alone in the pool and starts hearing weird voices. Alright, cool. I'm sitting in my seat waiting. Then things keep getting more creepy. Okay, I'm still waiting in my seat. Then the son is swimming and sees a manly figure standing outside the pool. I'm waiting in my seat, waiting for that moment to happen, and blue balls. That's what happened. It was blue balls. The scene just ended after the son investigates a strange figure outside the pool and nothing happens. I know modern horror movies are playing with expectation with the audience, like we know what happens when you do that type of formula. Some films can pull this off nicely. The difference is the best filmmakers keep the tease rising, but then provide you relief that lets you breathe. For example, in Scream 5, we see Wes's character get out the shower and stroke around the house preparing for a meal with his mom. We have at least 3 moments of the sound building up, the camera closing in on Wes, and framing it as the moment Ghostface will jump out just for them not to pop up. It was actually effective because it felt like the writer was aware of the horror tropes and used it to elevate a scene that could have been a generic kill. What they did instead was they maximized the tease. Ghostface shows up and kills Wes, providing the audience the satisfaction of a proper build-up and payoff. The problem with Night Swim is that there are many scenes throughout that have the build-up but no payoff, and you're sitting there wondering, where's the horror in this? The little boy scene goes nowhere. The pool party was the biggest opportunity to have a fodder meal of deaths, since this film barely had any, but all we got was the baseball father being consumed by the pool and decided to drown the kid unconsciously, but the kid gets to survive and the pool party ends. I'm waiting for this movie to not really scare me, but entertain me at least. The most horror we witnessed besides the opening scene was the ex-homeowner mother and the baseball father. I'm sorry, I wish I cared enough to remember their names. They become possessed because apparently this pool demon can do everything. It could be a man, a demon, it can change its voice to lure you in. It can even drag you to the most insane low depths of a swimming pool that even Aquaman and Namor will be impressed at the infrastructure. That might have been a tangent, but you get the point. I actually think this film could have been as good as, say, Scream or even Megan if it actually had something it wanted to talk about. The structure is actually pretty good in this film. A professional baseball player is trying to go back to his glory days, but he's stuck with this lingering injury, and he does everything he can to make a full recovery. This could have been a commentary on what it means to be a professional athlete at the top of your game and how that can affect your dynamic with the family. You could show that internal struggle of the father as he sees quick recovery from the pool, but notices it's changing him for the worse, so he stays away from the pool and tries the other recommended physical therapy activities. And let that play out. Show how those other physical therapy activities still help him, but it doesn't recover him as quickly as the pool. Show him tackle with the question of what is more important, his glory days or his family's well-being as his children adjust to a new environment. Speaking of a new environment, the movie does a lot of random instances that was thrown at the audience to just accept. For example, the daughter suddenly had girlfriends she was so close to that she could talk about her crush with the guy. They never showed up in the film prior, and I didn't see them again after that interaction. The guy crush was a weird addition as it didn't really add anything to the plot or even to the character of the daughter. So when the movie wants to talk about how hard it is for both children to transition to this new environment, I don't believe it, because where was the hardship? Even if they took all of these suggestions, it would still be a solid movie, to me at least, because of its premise of a murder pool. The film explores very little about the pool demon, and sometimes that works. You don't need to know everything about an antagonist to be engaged with it, but I wonder how well this movie would have been received if they dived, no pun intended, deeper into the lore. This didn't have to be a pool. Could have been simply about a water demon that flows through the pipes. Turn this into a cult film where their entire neighborhood encounters this water demon in their own pools, instead of making the Asian mother the only wacko to let their daughter die, and make it feel like everyone's accepting of the rewards that comes with letting the water demon, I guess, kill parts of your family, I guess, like sacrificing. So the real estate agent, I do want to say, was entertaining in the film. Honestly, the entire cast, acting wise, was decent, so not really any complaints there in that department. But having the real estate lady almost be a gatekeeper in this cult community that would praise a water demon, but it's like this hidden secret, that could have been another route that would have made this very compelling if written better. The father being the big bad at the end was funny, and I could tell the actor had fun going balls to the walls crazy. It's still a B movie, don't get me wrong, but I wish it could have been a better B movie. I guess if you could summarize my gripes with the film, it's that it doesn't fully embrace the dumb premise of its movie, unlike the horror movie Thanksgiving last year that completely embraced its premise and allowed a fun time, at least for me. This wasn't a fun time, but I'm glad I watched it. Sometimes a bad movie could be someone's guilty pleasure, so if this is your guilty pleasure film, enjoy it. That's what I miss about bad movies. Anyway, let me know if you watched it or decided to only watch a short film. In my opinion, just watch a short film. Also, just comment below on what horror movies you're anticipating for this year. I heard that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is coming out this year. Oh, I miss bad movies.